Here we are, Unbroken Talk, man. Ashley Truex. Next to me, such a beautiful young lady. And I say young because everybody's young. I mean, the gray don't lie. I'm fucking old as hell now at this point. But I got to tell you, this individual, what she's driven, man. This channel is all about regular people sharing their journey and something in an inspirational point, a defining moment, inspiration keeps them driven to accomplish something. And I had the privilege, many years, I could say. I mean, this is the first time Ashley and I will actually have a conversation, but I have seen her on stage, on the bodybuilding stage, for many years. I've seen her day in and day out come back better and better and better. And recently, I'm not going to share a golden moment, but she accomplished a major prestigious title. And whether she knows it or not, she'll know it now because publicly I'll say, I'm like, that is fucking awesome. I was like so happy for you. So happy for you that I instantly reached out on Instagram and said, I want you on my show. And the reason is not just because you want it. Truly speaking, as people know who watch this channel, it's not about the bodybuilding. But Ashley, when you sent in your intake, I wrote down 3 words. I got to tell you, you said hungry, you said escape, and you said you weren't so happy as a child. Hungry, escaped child. That tells me there is something that was developed at such an early age. Because when I first saw her step on stage and she, listen, we always want to do something to be the best version of herself and win. But if it doesn't accomplish, sometimes I never seen the competitor again or you never hear from them. But the next year came. I saw her again. I saw her again. Multiple shows. I may not have been judging, but I seen, oh, she competed again. She competed again. She competed again until it was accomplished. So it's her coming back and again and again and again. So Ashley Truex, I want to know what makes you tick. First and foremost, thank you so much for coming on. This is about what makes you tick, how you develop your mindset. Let's unpack when you were a child. Talk to me about the parents, the household, the siblings. I am excited to see how the magnificent mindset and woman you are today. Start in the beginning. Let's hear the journey.
I feel like there's so much, but first, thank you for giving me this opportunity. I really appreciate it. I love the industry. And I really love everything that it gave to me, right? So you start something and you think, all right, I'm just going to get pretty and I'm going to get up on stage and I'm going to be my best self. But you get a lot more than that. And before you asked what makes me tick is somebody saying, you can't do it. When somebody says I can't have something or gives me a no, there's like a fire that lights up inside of me and I just go.
I love that, but I'm going to freeze you. Normal podcasts or interviewers would go off that and talk about your win. To be honest with you, it's impressive, but that's not what I want to know. I want to know how you develop that mindset. And I know this is going to be a question you've never heard before because nobody's ever done. So I'll ask key questions. Let's unfold it and I'm going to open your eyes because you have a mindset that when you hear you can't do it, all bets off. But you weren't born with that.
Watch me.
You know what? That gives me chills. I love that shit. But that was made not just instantly. Let's spin back as a young girl. Brothers and sisters?
Yeah.
How
I'm one
many?
of six. I'm one
Good
of
Lord.
six.
Okay, so you are a big family. Mix boys and girls, I imagine.
So, I have 4 sisters and 1 brother.
Good.
Yeah. My
Good
mom
Lord,
my mom yeah,
man.
my mom wanted to keep on going until she got that boy. She's nuts.
Yeah, and nucleus family, mom and dad together?
Um, no.
Okay.
That's
It's not the listen, it's the norm now. When I hear interviews that it was like mom and dad, that's a rarity. I embrace it, but it's cool. So, where are you on number 6? Where are you?
I'm number
Okay,
3.
you're 3, so you are the young age of how old are you?
35.
So your oldest is
40 she was born in 81.
okay, so she's in her 40s and you got as young as your early 40s, I
Yeah,
imagine.
my brother's 30 now.
Okay, so spinning back when you were all younger, mom and dad were not together at that time at your earliest age?
Yeah, so when I was 6 years old, my mother left my father,
Okay, all
and
right.
for very, very good reason. Um, Although to this day, I believe my dad is still in love with my mom. But yeah, they had a rough childhood. Maybe not so much my dad, but my mom lost her father when she was 8 years old. And yeah, my grandmother was very depressed. So my mom ended up meeting my father and moving in with him when she was, I think, 14 years old.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
shit, yeah,
crazy.
that's
Super
crazy.
crazy. Yeah.
That's but not at that early, I mean, you're still a young girl, but still, yeah, that's a little
Yeah, very, very, very young. And my father was one of 9 kids. And, I think that they all embraced her with open arms. But they were doing things that, 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds shouldn't have been doing. They had my sister, my oldest sister, when I think my mom had just turned 15.
no shit. Okay,
Or
so
16. She might have been 16.
it was your mom had a
Oh,
challenging going. It's super challenging. So, when you were at an early age, so primarily the tribe, because a lot of kids, was with your father,
yeah.
staying with your father. Was
Yeah.
there a connection with mom? Was she local or did she just
She
vacate?
was she was local. She left. I was 6. My dad had some substance abuse issues. But she was local. Like, so we saw her once a week and every other weekend.
Grew up going to church then?
Christian. Yep,
Christian,
Christian.
okay.
I'll tell you why. So I lived on a dirt road,
Mhm.
named after a family member who passed away in the Korean War. And luckily, I was able to live very close to all of my aunts and uncles and my granny and
Okay.
my pop and my mama. And my mama she was a saint. She took care of us. When my mom left, my dad actually lost his house. And we just moved right up the dirt road to my mom's house.
So you had support, family support on it, which is strong, which in essence giving you the nurturing and guidance that you didn't get directly from mom. Cool. How about early on, any introductory or sports, any kind of athletics in at an early age, anything of that nature?
I had the opportunity to play softball in middle school, but I didn't follow through. And we didn't have the money
Okay.
to go ahead
All
and
right.
do that.
So early stages. So the atmosphere was challenging, although
Yeah, for sure.
you did get the support. So talk to me from all the siblings and having that atmosphere very challenging. How was your, if you can remember, I mean, this is, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, early on growing up. What kind of child were you? Were you focused in there? I'm sure everybody did the best they can to give guidance, right and wrong. We know I always talk about two paths, right? It's either you're going, where were you as a child and all the siblings trying to stay core in the nurturing of positive and the glass is half full or experimental? Talk to me about growing up.
I really think that all of us kind of just coped. We just had our own little mechanisms.
Hmm.
I think that having so many siblings, you would think that we weren't lonely, but I think that a lot of us were. I remember being a dreamer and thinking this can't be it. Just
Why? Why age and why did you feel that way?
I would say from the time that I was 6 until I was 13.
Okay, so what kind of friend like, it all starts with exposure, right?
Mhm.
And friends in school. Where are we in state-wise town? Where were you growing up?
Jackson, New
Okay.
Jersey.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Local, right? So
Yep.
Jackson growing up. So friends and that isn't Jackson per se. I mean, it's farmy and all, and I'm a
Yeah,
Jerseyan,
I was on the woodsy side.
woodsy side or so, but there is, it's not all poverty stricken within Jackson. So where did that come? Was it school and friends seeing that? Wait a minute, I'm not doing so good. Was it exposed to that, you think?
Yeah, yeah, my dad, he had a lot of resources provided to him for us. I remember, actually, I didn't know this until I was much older. My sister told me that my dad used to get gifts for us for Christmas, like from the school, like the donations.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Which is so crazy because, like, thinking about his ability and what he could have accomplished, there's so many things that he could have done to not have that happen, especially because he had the support of my grandmother and he just had no will. So unfortunately, I think that we didn't get the love that we needed. I know that my father loves us, but he doesn't know how to show it. And he was just
Recognize it. Did you recognize it early? I mean, it's hard to say as being a young child, but as you grow, did you recognize that like your father there was something missing then? Or at what point? How old were you? What grade? Where were you when it started connecting?
we just always knew.
Always knew?
I remember situations where it's late, we're wandering around the house when my father did have his house,
Mm.
and he lost the house when I was 9 years old, so we moved in with my mom when I was 9. But I remember banging on his door to wake him up, and he was not able to get up for whatever reason. So imagine, and my brother was 18 months when my mom left.
Wow.
So here we are. Luckily, there was a ton of us.
Yeah.
Somebody was old enough to watch my little brother.
That's intense, man. I mean, this is where, and, I'm going to, as a neutral, stepping back and listening to you. And I know, the first thing of being excited of, blowing out your chest, which is good reason. Bring it, I'll take it on, but it starts somewhere. I like and the channel of me trying to talk to regular people to show, there's not a switch that just turns on. It starts somewhere. In your case, the very fact on and it sounds like brothers and sisters and everybody was really connected. Missing the elements of love or so, but connected and recognizing. So the mere fact of you recognizing and being a dreamer just tells me, sees where your head's starting to go. And that is igniting such a mindset. We know what the ending is. But this is an igniter, and I don't know if you ever really thought of it that way. This is where that ignites. Was there anything drastic at that point within junior high and high school? Anything
Well,
happening?
let me break it down a little bit. So when my mom left, she left like on a mission. And I believe that her mission was to create something of herself so that she could get her kids back, then have full custody of them.
You know what? I could tell it right now, man. You are one tough mother effer. But unfold this with the mission of your mom. I'm very curious to see how this unfolds.
Right. So, like I said, her father died when she was 8 years old. She actually she remembers seeing him die. Yeah, so crazy. And she had older siblings, and it was very traumatic for them. And my grandmother just went into like a deep depression. Although God rest her soul, like she was amazing because she showed me things too. Like she taught me things. She was super in love with my grandfather and never married anybody else. And she was just like a spitfire. And she was German, so she was kind of harsh, but so funny at the same time. But yeah, she really taught me to just keep it moving. So anyway, my mom, she has my oldest sister when she's 16. My mom really helped raise my oldest sister because she was so young. And it took my mom 7 years before she had my next sister. And then she just was like banging them. So unfortunately, I come from a family that has some addiction issues.
Okay.
My pop drank pretty heavily. My uncles, and it's just like a way of life for them. And my dad picked that up. And I know that my father might see this, but he knows how I feel, and I know he loves me no matter what, even though he might not say it. Anyway, so my mom, I think that she finally just had enough and she thought she wanted to create an amazing family. And then when she realized it was never going to stop, she left. And after that, she pursued her career. So originally, she had wanted to go into the Navy and she decided not to do that.
Hmm.
She always tells me she wished that's what she did. But she worked for the bank for 10 years. She actually gave me the advice to start working at a bank when I was 18. And then after that, she got some exposure to some of the employees from the police department. So she started working for the police department, stayed there. And I think that based off of her exposure to successful people, she decided that she wanted to, do something for herself and she went to nursing school.
Okay.
So we were with my dad until I was 13. And the reason why my mom got custody was because she finally was settled. Plus, my mom passed away. My dad didn't have any place for us to go. And my aunts and uncles were like going back and forth with each other, and there was to be no place for us to stay. Yeah, yeah. So it was a long time coming, but my mom was extremely excited about taking us back. But she took steps like every day. She worked multiple jobs. She worked at a gynecologist office. She worked at the police department. She went to school.
Wow, your mom ending, it sounds like, as a superhuman hero on a mission and hurt herself and all temporarily for the good to take one step back but two steps forward. During the course of her leaving and then staying with your mama, quote you, and have your dad struggling with her with his own drinking or what have you, his own issues. There was still, what was the relationship like with all the siblings and your mom during that pivotal point as she was really making an effort to get on her feet? Was it really starting to bond and everyone, even the older siblings, was starting to somewhat of a respect to see her really making an effort to move forward? What was that experience like?
My mom
No?
got a lot of hate.
A lot of hate,
My mom
just
got a lot of
nobody
hate.
forgived her for the initial,
Yep.
regardless.
Yeah. So, and then when I think about the relationships between me and my siblings, I think that we were really all just trying to survive.
Mm,
So we played, but I don't remember being super close to my siblings. I
mm.
love all of my siblings and we have, we get together and we have a good time. We're all a little crazy. There's a lot of
Right.
girls, so there's a
Mhm.
lot of personality, but I think that we all were just trying to get through. And I think that like we were all just trying to finally make it to somewhere where we didn't have to live like that anymore.
So that went all through at what, high school? And then after, where was the pivotal point with your mom getting on her feet, or what happened to you guys as you finished high school and all that stuff?
So my mom actually used to live in my aunt's basement. And then she met my stepfather and they got together. They were together, I think, for a couple years. So we had been visiting him and visiting her on the weekends at his house in actually Lacey Township.
Okay.
And when I was 13 and she got custody, we went and we moved in with him. And I have to tell you that you spoke about exposure before, and I truly believe that that's what I had the opportunity to have in my life
Mhm.
was exposure. So I had like the worst and the like the best of both worlds.
Okay.
My stepfather, extremely strict. My mom, very harsh as well, but she's a good lady. And it's crazy to have to go from like being able to like go out in the woods and go to woods parties and do what you want at 13 years old. And I mean, I wasn't crazy. I didn't do any drugs or anything like that.
Why? Let me ask you, freeze. Why? Like, why? Because, I mean, let's face it, like, it wasn't, and nothing wrong with it. I relate. You don't have the nucleus family. Nobody's eyeballing on you with curfews and all the above. You go to woods parties, you're being a kid, like, so there's two paths, man. You can go down, and we know what that path is, or you go down where you said it yourself, I wasn't crazy. Why? Why do you think you weren't crazy?
I think because my mom put the fear of God in me.
That's it. So here's another defining moment. I'm trying to unpack why you're such a hard ass, which is in a good way, right? So we want to know what ignites the hard ass. Number two, defining moment. You say the fear of God. You know what? I'm so proud of you. That is like, I've heard, take a step back, right? So this is worth just hearing. My commentary is you learn from your mom who made a decision to exit. Your father is doing, you're with your grandmom, which is common. You have two choices to go down. You either embrace the freedom of F everybody and I'm going to do whatever the hell I want, party, whatever it may be, or get the fear of God and see as a, I quote, dreamer and unhappy. And there's more to this. You unpack these such inspirational phrases that you're like, you're already planting the seed in your head for greatness. You're outlining it. You see it coming, right? I see you nodding. It's coming. So that's awesome. So now you move in. Did I hear you correctly? You move in with your mom now?
Yeah, it was.
Because your grandma passed away. Okay. So everybody,
Oh yeah,
well,
yeah. So my oldest sister, I believe at the time she was living with her boyfriend. She was going to school. Of course she didn't move in. She just stayed where she was.
okay. All
But
right.
the rest of us, yes. So, but let me tell you where we moved from. Okay. So we moved in with my mom when I was 6 years old or 9 years old. But literally, there was no place for us to really stay. There was one bedroom. Like me
Good
and
Lord.
five kids
Good
slept
Lord.
on one. I mean, so I hate to like even say it like this because so many people have it worse, but we just didn't have anything. And
Look at you now. Look,
I know,
you
I know.
got, yeah, but uh, tell me,
It was
because
just,
it's just,
it was so chaotic. And the only thing that I can say is just like my mom, thank God for her. Like thank God for how much she loves her kids because she just did it. And what's crazy is that she just did it for my pop too. Cuz
yeah,
my pop stopped working, he had a back injury, like he just drank every single
yeah, yeah,
day.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And she just hustled like a lady. Like she just did it.
That's how it was.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that sounds like I'm assuming your role model, man. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, you just said it. She just did it.
It's not something that I would have done myself. I think that because there's a lot of things that I've experienced, like I've observed that I don't ever want to deal with. Like, and as we go in a little bit more deep into my story, like I might have had to deal with some of those things, but I'm quick to say, see ya. Like, I was quick in my life to be able to figure out how to support myself to be able to exit situations that I don't want to be in.
I love it, man. And and it makes a hell of a, that statement makes a hell of a lot of sense as you're unfolded. So let's speed up. So we're living with half of you, well, five of you, right?
Yeah, five
With
of us.
five of us. So unfold, continue. What now? How old are you now?
13.
13. Okay. So continue the journey, speed through. Where are we? How are we doing?
So we're doing good. I mean, other than the fact that it literally was the complete opposite that what we were used to.
Hmm.
So like we lived in a nicer neighborhood. Um but we had to ask permission to go outside. Now, my stepfather is a police officer and he was a detective at one point.
Good Lord.
And yeah, he wanted to know where we were at every moment of the day. And my mom too. It was very it was very controlled. Very, very, very
How did
controlled. So
everybody hear? How did everybody feel about that? That's a
I just
different.
think yeah, I just think that we didn't get an opportunity to be the people that we wanted to be. And I think it's because my mom wanted to make sure that we were successful because she didn't want us to live her life. So a lot of the choices were her choices. But my mom makes some good choices. She's a little abrupt. She's strong-willed,
Okay.
strong-worded, a
Okay.
little crazy. But
German.
yeah,
German.
yeah, yeah. Well, German and Irish.
German.
So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll leave it there, but understood. Well said. Well said. Okay, so it unfolds. So it's a 180 to try to whip in, and it sounds like everybody made do. Okay. Anything happened out of the normal besides just, how did everybody embrace now being with mom?
All of us had very different experiences. I have siblings that did not have a good experience. And then for me, I think that I don't have the capacity to care about things for a long time. Things that are should not necessarily be thought about forever, right? So, and I understand that, there's some things that you go through that you like keep that trauma, but I just want to like learn from it and move. And
Right.
I think that I've always been like that. I just
Yeah.
don't have the attention span to care.
Right. Right. Okay.
So,
Good attitude.
all different experiences, like some hate, some love. And then I had young siblings. So, like my younger siblings, it was fine. They were,
They
you
got
know,
through it. They got
yeah,
through it.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
got there.
got through it. So speed me up through finishing anything major impact or change as we go through junior high and high school.
Yeah, I mean, everything was pretty normal, you know,
Any getting in
control.
trouble, just being normal teenagers, but keeping things in.
My mom would say that I am super spontaneous. I am a little impulsive. So I've gotten into some trouble, nothing crazy, like I've never been arrested or anything like that, but you didn't do a lot of things because you knew that there would be consequences. My mom was a hit you guys on the butt with a spoon kind of lady.
You
And
know
she didn't
what?
care how old you were.
I could relate to that. I'd be coming in, and my mom would say something to my dad, and he'd be like, "I'm gonna get the goddamn belt or the spatula." Yeah,
Yeah.
I get it. Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
so there, I think as I got older, I just realized that, just analyzing where everybody was at, my mom and my dad, and visiting my father on the weekends and stuff, I just knew that like there were things that I didn't want to do myself that they did. And I wanted to make sure that every day I like woke up, I was trying to get somewhere. And I think that for my dad, I think that he just didn't understand how capable he was of being successful, and he really just woke up every day and just
Yeah.
lived,
Well,
unfortunately.
it sounds like your dad was lacking self-confidence, right? He was really lasting some self-confidence, but it sounds like as I'm listening to you, as you lived with your mom and your stepdad and it continued, your mind started growing and understanding everything you had experienced and really started to embrace to set yourself up to not let the things that you really didn't appreciate ever happen to you. You really wanted something more. Am I off base? I mean,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
yeah, it wanted more, and that is now it's making perfect sense to where how we talked about and hit the nail on the head on your defining moments, but now as you're maturing, it's like, you know, contest prep, right? Baby steps. And every week you see change and you get stronger and get more confidence and it gets easier. Your defining moments took you to the point where now you're really starting to develop where you want to go and where
Mhm.
you do not want to go. So I think, as I'm sure you're going to unfold, better decisions are going to unpack or so. So take us, or maybe not, we'll have. That's why this crazy EKG goes ups and down. It's life's journey. So take us at where are we now? We've taken it out of high school and we're college. Where talk to us about your journey. Where are
So
we?
I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I knew that I had to be as successful as my siblings. And I had a
Competition.
big,
You
yeah.
guys were all in
Mhm.
competition. Okay.
I don't think that,
Yeah.
well, I feel like sometimes we are a little bit in competition, but I boast my siblings. I think they're amazing. They have a lot more capacity to, I didn't stay in school, they did, but they achieved a lot of things. So I'm so proud of them. And so yeah, I guess you would say like we're just really trying to make sure that we're all good.
You don't want to repeat history that you lived in,
Yeah.
that you feel that wasn't just. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And so my oldest sibling, she is a physician's assistant.
Mhm.
She's so smart, like super, super, super smart. And the rest of us had some work to do because she was
Okay.
the first one and she was much
Yeah.
older than us.
Okay.
So after high school, I was really trying, well, while in high school, I was really trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And my mom said to me, you're like really good at starting things, but you're not so good at finishing things.
Mhm.
So you got to do something. So you need to go get a job at the bank. So I started working at one financial institution, and what was best for me is the consistency. And I think that having exposure to people there, I got more thoughts about what I wanted to do and how to get there.
Okay.
So, as a young child, there was nobody around that was successful, but then being put in front of my stepfather, given the opportunity to observe the things that he did in his life. And I mean, he lived like a leave it to beaver life.
Right. Right. Okay. All right. Well,
So,
it made an impact.
yeah, like 2 parents, served our
Yeah.
country, great morals. He had
That's
one
great.
sibling, yeah, he
Yeah.
was in the Coast Guard, became a police officer. Just an amazing guy.
Well,
And we didn't always.
but you saw from like, I'm going to spin back. Your mother said an interesting comment to you. You start stuff, but you don't finish. Growing up, I've heard between your mother, your father, and everything that happened, a lot of things started, but did not finish. But
Mhm.
now living with them and seeing your stepfather start to finish,
Yeah.
started,
Now, yeah.
yeah, right?
Yeah, it was definitely like you gotta do something.
Yeah.
So I really appreciated all the experiences that I had at that financial institution, and I thought, maybe I'm gonna stay with this.
Awesome.
So I went to Ocean County College for a little while,
Okay.
and then I stopped, and I started to date my now husband. Actually, I really shouldn't say this.
Say whatever you want, man. We're not on TV, so it's on
Yeah, so
podcast.
I was in a relationship for a little while, and I didn't think it was gonna go anywhere, and I like saw some things that like would remind me of things with like my dad, and I was just like, oh man, I don't want to, like, I don't know if I want to, stay in this place and then, repeat. So I had started to talk to my husband now, Corey, and we formed a really good friendship. And then I broke up with my then boyfriend, and I started dating my husband.
Okay. I mean, you listen, we'll leave it at you certainly learned and took notice and took hold of your past. And you absolutely were driven, even though it wasn't your history per se. You were not going to repeat history. You really used your mom and dad as the token to what you did not want to happen. And as a parent, and you have children now.
Yep. Yeah, I have
So
two.
as a parent, I mean, I always share, and I'm sure you can ditto it. It's learn from my mistakes, man. I'm like an open book. I did it. It was wrong. Don't do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So there's nothing wrong with that, but you took it to heart specifically. That's awesome. So you met your husband now, unpacked it from there. As take me.
So I'm going to take you into my spontaneity, like how
Yeah.
impulsive.
Uh-uh.
Impulsive buying. So he was actually living in Okinawa, Japan at the time. He was in the Marine Corps. And
Okay.
he would come home on leave and we would hang out. And then he got orders to Jacksonville, North Carolina. So he said to me, he said, Ash, do you want to move to North Carolina? And I was like, well, in my mind, I was like, all right, if I go, like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't not be successful. Like, I've been here at this financial institution for 3.5 years. I'm really growing. People like me. I'm going to go somewhere. Like, I see myself like moving in the right direction.
Tick tock,
Great.
tick
Yeah. So,
tock, tick.
so,
What happened?
I said, I'm not going to go without a job. So I put out all these applications and I ended up with one bank and they interviewed me for a teller at the time. And I was a CSI, I was like a switcher. So they actually referred me off to be a banker. And it was great because it literally was right down the street from the base that he was
And
going to be
open
at.
the door. That opened the door
No,
for you. Look
yeah,
at
yeah,
man, look at
yeah.
uh, you know what? That next step, I know this just builds that confidence. Click, notch in the belt.
Yeah.
Continue. Look at you, man.
So I moved to Jacksonville, North Carolina, and literally a month later, he gets orders to deploy. Yeah, so crazy. So, but I expected that. I
Okay.
expected that.
Okay.
And I was ready for it. I feel like you're never really ready for that type of situation because you've moved to a place that you don't have anybody. But I will tell you, because of who I am, I was capable of being alone. Like, I'm okay. I'm okay with me. Like, I'm confident. I know who I am. I can eat lunch by myself. I can eat dinner. I can go to a restaurant by myself. I don't need anybody.
Right.
So it was a whole year of being without him. But we woke up one morning and he said, do you want to get married?
So you take no prisoners, man.
Oh my God.
The
I just did
mentality.
it. I just did
Yeah,
it.
the
Just did it.
mentality. How long were you dating prior to that point?
Oh my God. It was like off and on, off and on. So like solid, maybe 6 months.
It's short,
But
but
here's a story,
and
here's a
how
story.
old are we now? How old are we then, at least at that
21, 21.
shit, man, okay.
Yes. Little baby.
You guys were babies. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. But my grandmother was with her husband for 6 months before they got married. And he was a Marine. And it just felt right.
Who am I to say?
It just felt right.
Who am I to say? I'm married twice, so yeah, I get it. All I know is, who am I to say as far as listening to the mindset? You're easy. Your knee-jerk reactions are coming from confidence, man. I mean, you got a good sense on who you were, who you are, and who you want to be. I mean, the very fact, the maturity that's coming out of your mouth at, well, it wasn't 21 when you because you got deployed. When you moved down with him, what were you, 19?
No, no, it's 21.
Oh, you were
I
21,
moved, yeah,
all in the same.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. So
So
you're,
yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, okay. So, yes, it is young, all the above, but I look at it, having interviewed, 16 years old and hearing the stories, you know, age doesn't specifically dictate the strength of the mindset and the maturity of the individual. We know that. And you developed such a strong sense of who you were at 21. You described it so much. I mean, it's like, what was the first thing? And, he says, I got to move down to Carolinas. Do you want to come? What did you just tell me? You didn't say, "Oh, yeah, I just wanna go because that's my boyfriend, I don't wanna be alone or anything."
No.
You said, "I gotta find a job," and then, it's like, I'm like, "Fuck, man, are you kidding me? That's like money, man."
But I had to have an escape. So what I will tell you about me is that I
Strong
don't
mind,
rely.
girl. I
Yeah,
see where you're getting it.
and
Shit.
I don't rely on a man. So I
I could
am
see that, right? I see that a
I'm a
mile
huge
away,
supporter
man.
of men. I love them, right?
Yeah,
And
I see.
I give them the credit that they deserve. Like I treat my husband like a man.
Amen.
I'll
Amen. I'm
make
sure
him
you will.
dinner, lunch, maybe not as
Amen.
consistent as I should. I clean the house, I do all that stuff.
Amen.
But what I've learned is that you have to be capable yourself because sometimes people get themselves in situations and It's either you can help them or you can't. So you have to have
And
your own stuff.
you're the head on your shoulders is just incredible, man. At 21, I can you see and you're gonna really listen to this, you and your husband and your dad, and be very proud of yourself because your attitude when we first started, and I know you had no idea where this is going to go on really, it'll be a therapy session, but really it's really me uncovering what makes you tick, how it began. You could see where it began. I mean, I'm moving down to Carolinas and you're worried about getting a job and all the above. And then he's got to deploy. And as a 21-year-old, I'm sure there were tears and all the above. We know what the ramifications and potentially and all that stuff. But yet you're like, I got this.
Mhm,
I'm good, man. I'm good. You take care of business. I'm good. As a 21-year-old, to say I can look in the mirror and have confidence in myself and I'm okay being alone. Ashley, man, do you know how rare that is? I mean, think about it, right?
now.
Let me tell you something. That is a rarity. The leading the leading narcotic or drugs out there of anxiety and depression and overweight and all these different struggles are because people have the lack of self confidence. You described it yourself with your dad. To gain self confidence, to be able to get it, you fortunately, at a very young age, the unfortunate non-nucleus family church going situation you did not have, you developed a very strong, self-confident, strong-minded, strong-willed, persistent young lady to say, balls to the wall, I'm going to make something of myself no matter what. And I don't need a mother.
That's
I
right.
mean, am I wrong?
You're
Right.
right.
So now, like, realistically, I want to finish this conversation, but I know exactly why you do what I watched. I mean, it's no brainer. I wouldn't expect any less from you, like hearing you. And I can tell you, and I will repeat this, and those that are listening, it's incredible to be able to have that, to build that mindset. It's baby steps. It's similar to, and I always talk about helping clients becoming the best version of themselves. And the obvious is not from the mental health capacity, but wanting to, you know, be in better shape, right? So, individuals that did not have a mindset to be able to eat good and exercise for 20, 30, 40, 50 years want to get in shape. How do you think you're going to get in shape? Oh, you just macro count, eat good and whatnot, and away we go. What are you kidding me? They did for 30, 40, 50 years. They had no mindset. So what do? You got to reprogram your mind before you can absolutely positively do something. Your mind, girl, is only getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger.
Well,
And
I
I
was
know
I was tested pretty
I
hard in
want
my
to hear
20s.
about it. So now we are, he's deployed. You're on your own. Continue the journey.
Yeah, so as far as the deployment, it was a really good experience. Like being around different people, being in a different state away from my family, just the just independence of it all and being able to at 21 just like run your life, right? Just figure it out. And it gave me time because I was able to go back to school. I started at I went to Campbell University for a little while he
Mm.
was deployed. Of course, that was something that I didn't finish. I regret that. But in hindsight, I've been very successful in my career, so I can't complain. So he comes back. We saved a ton of money to have a big wedding. We had our
Mhm.
big wedding, and then the real life starts because he got out of the Marine Corps 2 months after he got back from deployment. So this was us really like this is the first time that we're like actually together for a long period of time.
Reality.
Reality, yeah, like we before that he was in Okinawa, Japan. I was at my, with my parents and we didn't really get like that time together, but I'm lucky because he has an easygoing personality. So it was very easy for me to insert my control and really just create the routines
Okay.
and we both had a passion around working out, so we had bonded around that. But then real life settled in when he got out of the Marine Corps and didn't know what he wanted to do.
Okay.
So that was difficult for me because I had been with the bank for, well, I've been with a bank for like 5 or 6 years by then.
Hmm.
And I'm like, well, you just got to go. Like, you just got, like, I'm a solver. So I'm like, all right, this is what you need to do. But what I've learned over the years is that I can't give the solution to somebody. They have to find the solution themselves. And I'm so quick to jump and I'm impulsive that like I deliver things to him and it's just like, all right, I'll do whatever you want me to do. But then it doesn't work out at the end. So he had some difficulties transitioning and figuring out what he wanted to do, but we had ended up moving back to New Jersey and we got pregnant with Cole.
Hmm.
So really just 6 months, maybe 8 months after um he returned, we got pregnant with Cole. We were parents at like 20, 23.
Yeah. Okay. Congratulations. That's
Thank
fantastic.
you. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All
My
right.
little
So
man's 11
that's
now.
that's fantastic. So it unfolds as you start to gain real life experience and settle in on getting along. Any major hurdles or out of the normal? Nothing out of the normal.
So what I will tell you about that is, having to figure out what it is you really want to do, that comes with, and at the time, I wasn't like earning a ton of money at my own job. And he had been working for a union where he was making pretty good money. And then, the money changed. So situations had changed. We had just bought our first house. As you move through your 20s, you're thinking, "Oh my god, we're just having a good time." So without going into detail, there are some things that you think that you're just doing to have a good time.
All right.
And then it becomes a habit. And then, I was a mom and I was working and I was moving up the ladder and I had to make sure that I set some things straight so that we could move forward instead of, me exiting a relationship. So
So there was some tension within the relationship out of like normal stuff, but your strong-willed personality and very balanced and politically correct communication experience that you've learned over the course, you worked it out. You worked it out.
yeah, I made sure that I was good in my mind. So I like 5 years ago, I was on point with my routine,
Mm.
knew like what I would have to do to survive myself. And I think that's intimidating.
Right.
And I built that in effort to, give a like a it's that this is it. I don't want to say ultimatum.
No, I get it. Listen, as a very young adult, you both were figuring each other out. And, at 21, your mind is still developing because you're still gaining exposure within the world. And the seriousness of, you know, a job, responsibility for your own self, taking care of your own self, how to handle situations in life with your own self, partner, a marriage to whatever level and degree that becomes, a baby in the mix and all the above. 21, 22, 23, still a baby. I mean, you're still very limited. There's a lot of things that can erupt, but it's very, I can say, certainly relate, and I wouldn't think any less because of the way your mind ticks and what you developed. You're a survivor. Okay, everything you went through was on point for you to be successful and survive whatever the circumstances around you, and you didn't really identify it because there was no need to talk, but I'm sure like you had always had an exit plan. There was
Oh
always an
yeah. Oh yeah.
exit plan, regardless your whole life. And it's okay to say, and I'm sure everything you'll unpack it, but when things are struggling early on in a relationship, you had an exit plan. That's not by choice what you wanted, but you had an exit plan to make sure you were okay. And this is where the mind just continues. And the people listening to this now, because I know it's going to be a happy ending as it
Mhm.
unfolds, as you finish, but your mind continued the strength. So the takeaway from this conversation is once it was built, at any age it becomes built, and yours was early on, as you continue that thought process on wanting to be the best version of yourself. And that's really what from early age of 6, 7, 8, 9 till continuing on, you continue to want to be the best version of yourself. There was more to life and more to the world that you wanted to experience and find out on yours. And with a partner and with a child, you're hoping that it all sticks like glue. But regardless, you were going to make it. You were going to continue it. And that's okay. And recognizing, it's unfortunate you're early on, and I'm sure it sounds like everything worked out, which I wouldn't expect. As long as you're true to yourself, know what's important, be honest, be respectful, be kind, it'll continue in the right direction. Because, girl, Ashley, your mind is strong, man. And in any way, shape, or form, one thing I will say, you're not selfish. There is no I in team with what you said. You were always being the best version of yourself and being considerate. And as you shared, with your husband and all the above. So, that is absolutely outstanding. I want to hear more continuation from that, but I do want to ask from a religious standpoint or church, was there anything in the journey of bringing that to the surface any further or no within
Within my relationship?
or anything from your dad, I think you mentioned, would go to church, but as you all the way till your questioning and all, was there any church or anything in faith in part of any part of your life or no?
No, not at that point. I mean, I obviously got married in a church.
Mhm.
And not the first time. I got married in the jail the first time.
Okay. Wait, time out for a minute. Wait, what?
Because Onslow County in Jacksonville, North Carolina, the magistrate's office is right where you pick up the prisoners.
Okay, I was
So,
like, wait, did I miss
yeah,
something?
I always tell that story. I'm
Okay.
like, "Oh, the first time I got married was in jail," and people, like, freak out. Uh, but yeah, so no, my husband's surprisingly, he's not religious. So I
Okay.
didn't I'd been to church a few times.
Mhm.
And I'll go from time to time. My kids are really asking to go now, so I really would like to bring that back to them. Of course, they were baptized, but no real like my
Nothing real.
what's so funny? My husband, he is such a good person, but he just doesn't believe, which is so crazy.
Was he exposed? Did he grow up
Oh
in
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I believe his nana, she's from Scotland. She's Catholic.
Mhm.
Yeah, and his other grandma, I don't think so much.
Well, and I'll share, as we unpack, but he's exposed. That's one thing. There's a chance the door's cracked. There's always patience from our God. And as you say, Christian or Catholic, we're believing in the same, the, knowing, and I'll say this as the topic, as we're on the topic, and I've interviewed so many people and being very faith driven. I encourage, and not as a preaching piece, but just encouragement, is that life is so difficult that when you really think of, what life is about and you think your place in life, there is a higher power that created and has a path, and there could potentially be something that can help you truly connect on what your path is supposed to be in your place in this world. And I say that as an encouraging comment. So I always suggest, and as your children inquire to want to get plugged into just reconnecting on hearing what it's all about, there could be just that small possibility that just makes a difference, and you will then see life at such a magical way through a different set of lenses. And it would certainly, with the same with your husband. Maybe not, maybe it'll never come, but I'm always encouraged to anyone that had exposure to know. I mean, being a very faith-filled Christian, and being very active the past 30 years, I certainly see life differently through a different lens.
Mhm.
It's more than just my thoughts, my actions, my goals, my
Mhm.
aspirations, my relationships. I see it through a bigger purpose, and I feel more complete as this, like, what I'm driven with this platform, to be able to talk to you and unpack such an amazing young lady's story on, I mean, you're not, and when I say regular, I don't degrade the word regular in any way. It's just, we're not on mainstream, right? We're not on the big screen. We're real people
Yeah.
sharing stories. And although you might not think your story's any special, but it truly is, because you truly could have went down the wrong path. And there's a reason why you didn't. We
Mhm.
unpacked some of it, but you shared a couple in beliefs. And as me being a Christian, I can say from, our God and Lord and Savior, you have been made for a purpose and a path,
Mhm.
to understand what that path is, to be able to open the door and go somewhere and learn, or just, pick up the book or go online and just read. It'll speak, like, what happened? And you, holy shit, wait, what? And you could just, like, find out yourself. You don't necessarily have to go anywhere with it, our phones or books, but there's a path on why, like, why. And this is, why are your kids saying this? There's some direction, and then all of a sudden it's like this overwhelming, amazing thing. And it's, intoxicating on your husband might say, maybe not. But if
Yeah.
it does, it becomes intoxicating for all. And all of a sudden, the relationship for everybody just becomes so solid,
Mhm.
as stronger than concrete, because you're believing in, knowing that a higher power has all of your best interests to be the best you can be for all.
You know, we had thought as kids that in our 20s that things weren't a big deal. So as I'm momming and I'm in the career and I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go, I'm doing a lot of things. And I was feeling like from the other side wasn't, it was going in the wrong direction. And I did not want to repeat history. So again, we were young.
Hmm.
Things stopped and started. And I eventually realized that it wasn't going to stop. So like I said, I built like a lot of really good routines for myself to move in my career, but also to be very confident so that if I had to, once
Hmm.
giving him that choice, go, I was capable. So thankfully, the correct choice was made. We haven't,
Awesome.
yeah, like cold turkey,
Nice.
which is crazy, super crazy. But yeah, I think I'm lucky to have had those experiences.
Strengthens you.
Yeah, because
Strengthens you.
i- if I ever needed to be, I knew that I could be
Of course you can,
I
man.
could
You're
I could
one
take
tough
care of business.
motherfucker, man. Are you kidding me? No,
Yeah.
he's a lucky man, and I'm sure you're a lucky girl.
Yeah, yeah.
Or
No, he's a
it's
great
the work.
guy.
It's unbelievable. So that unpacks one child, or
We have two back to back.
back to back. Okay, so that's fantastic. Two, one boy, and what was
One
the?
boy and one girl.
Good for you. Good for,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
congratulations. The young
Thank
girl
you.
is how old?
9. She'll
Her
be
age?
10.
Age? How old?
Yeah,
At
she's
10.
in
What's her name? What's her name?
autumn.
What? Very cool, man.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool. So, from that point, that brings us anything outside of the next question I'm going to ask, anything like you kind of unfold. What do you have to share?
Yeah, I mean, after that, it's still rough, right? Like you
Hmm.
make a decision and you move on, and
Hmm.
there's still day-to-day struggles because you don't, I struggle with anxiety, so I know exactly what I need to do. Like, and I'm not talking like some people will say, "Oh, I feel anxious." Like that's not the anxiety I'm talking about. I'm
Hmm.
talking about like onset panic, like something's wrong, your heart's racing, you're hot, you're cold, you're this, you're that,
I can
you
fucking
just
relate to that shit
yeah,
so
like
much, man.
you don't know like what's happening. All
Yeah.
of a sudden it just comes
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
So I had struggled with anxiety. So I knew like the things that I needed to do. Although my husband had been my savior, because there are times that like we had to call somebody to come over the house to take me to the hospital because I thought I was having a heart attack.
Exactly. Good lord.
But
You know how many times I went to
yeah,
fucking hospital for that shit, man? Probably a fucking dozen times, man.
so bad, so bad.
I know. I can
There have
relate.
been times too. You're gonna think I'm crazy, but there have been times like he took me to
Crazy. I get, yeah. I've been there, girl. I
like
know.
there's been times he took me to the hospital, and then I'm sitting in triage, and I'm just like, all right, I'm good. Like
I've been there, man. Yeah, no, I get it. And this is how old are you?
I'm a complicated lady.
How? No, you're not. You're normal, man. You're a normal lady. How old are you? This is recent, or how old are we talking when this all started unfolding?
So a panic attack started when I was like 19 years old.
Okay, so it's long,
And
so
I'll
it's
I'll tell you
lenient.
I'll tell you how it
Go
happened.
ahead.
I took a big rip off of a bong and I coughed. Like when I say I didn't smoke pot like all of the time. Like maybe it was one I probably smoked pot like 4 or 5 times in my whole entire life. So I started coughing, hyperventilating, and then I felt like I was having an out of body experience. And this is like when I was with my ex. And I was like, "Oh my god, you got to me to the hospital. Like, there's something wrong. There's something wrong." And then ever since then, I had
You
onset
open the
panic.
door. You open the
Yeah,
door.
I
Yeah,
don't
you
know
open the
what
door.
happened, but
Yeah, you
I
open
would
the
get
door.
it. They would just come on. So originally, I thought, "Oh my god, I'm having these panic attacks because like I don't. This is like not where I want my life to go with the
Yeah.
person that I was with." So I was like, "I get out of here." Then I continue to have them, unfortunately, but I know what I have to do. So when I get one, I know how to calm myself down. And I'll tell you that my routine and exercise and my diet 100% helps
Keeps you
eliminate
focused
them. Yeah, like eliminates me from even having like
because you're focused. Your mind is set on a path. I could so relate.
so in the time after he makes his decision, it was ups and downs. Like it was, I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm happy, and that's a hard place to be. So it was a lot of day to day figuring out like we're gonna be happy today. Are we gonna like
Mhm.
is it exciting? Is it like what are we trying to accomplish? And at the same time, I'm really trying to flip his mindset and say the best is yet to come. Like they're gonna have hard days, but you have to keep moving. Like we can't just think like this Xanax is going to cure my panic attack because
Right,
I mean I don't take them anymore because
right,
I can take care of it myself. But
right.
it's one and the same. So like if you're feeling like you can't handle the day to day, you get home, you want to just wipe away your sorrows with whatever. You have to figure out something else to get over that because real life, real people deal with their problems.
And there's a
So
good head on our shoulder.
it was hard, but I feel like it definitely
Yeah,
helped
no,
us to create like who we wanted to be and who he wanted to be and gave him some framework to not be so upset about things and outlets.
the conversation you had and the strength of your mind for understanding patience and just wanting to fix it
Mhm.
instead of sweeping it under the carpet and seek to alcohol, drugs, fighting, and exit strategy. You were proactive. I'm proud of you. That's fantastic. And that is the upbringing that you developed your own mind. Fantastic.
It would bring us to when I got promoted at my current financial institution,
Okay.
and that it stemmed a lot of different things because I had to move my family and not far, like an hour away. But
Okay.
my husband at the time had a business. So he had to make a choice. And, he had to make a choice at the expense of me. And I'll say this, I think that being strong and independent as a woman, it's a hard role to play. because it comes with a lot of, I don't think my husband's ever jealous of me, but I think he understands what it is I'm trying to accomplish, and sometimes it's intimidating.
It could be if he's, bringing, I know it would be for me, being old school mentality, but he embraced it and handled it.
Yeah, we had some struggles. Like he had to transition, so he had his business and he was going back and forth. And I couldn't be available for the kids because I travel.
Right.
So he had to be there. So he had to leave later, come back earlier to make sure that they were able to get off the bus, and it was just causing a lot of uneasiness. So eventually he goes ahead and he got rid of the business, and he was trying to figure out what he wanted to do. So we were super excited. We thought that maybe he would have the opportunity to become a police officer. So he applies. So I did all the research. He applies.
Of course.
Funny story, actually, I knew the chief, and I didn't realize he was the chief until later. But they really hit it off, and we thought that he was going to start working at our local township, but unfortunately, for his age, you have to be 35 to get into
Right.
the police and fire pension
Okay.
in New Jersey, which is completely ridiculous.
Right.
And his years of service, the years that you took off your age had to be in a combat zone. So he was able to get rid of like 1 or 2 years of sea service and foreign service. Yeah, so he tries out, he does the whole like fitness test. He smokes like these young boys. And he was the top candidate. They selected him, and then
That's
they did the
awesome.
research and they couldn't hire
They
him.
couldn't
So
hire him.
so that was like
Unfortunate.
a gut punch. Here
Yeah.
here I am. My wife's running around.
Right.
She's got a big job. She's bodybuilding. She's
Right.
got a great routine. And here I am just like trying to figure it out. So that was rough, but we had to make sure that we had good communication, because I don't want him to think that here I'm just,
Right.
trying
Right.
to be the boss. And
So what unfolded? What did he actually settle into?
so he actually went back to school. He got a CDL.
Hmm.
And one of his buddies from Bayville opened up a landscape company. So he has his CDL, and he delivers for them.
That's awesome. That's good. Good stuff. So the support, the strength of your mind, and the encouragement. I'm gonna say it's the glue for your relationship, and just you're the leader, man. I mean,
Mhm.
he
I don't want
certainly.
I don't want to be the leader.
Well, to a point, I mean, I hate to remind you, but you quoted of taking control in the relationship early on. So, unfortunately, Ashley, your mentality will not take a back seat, girl. I mean,
I know.
it's just not. It's okay. He will he is the man. He is the father of your children. He is your husband. He is your guy, and he does his thing in his place. But you're you, and you guys work. That's all I will say. I am sure, and I could safe to say, he wouldn't have you any other way. I mean, he may say, what? What?
I don't know. He
Yeah,
might say I'm a little
little
rough.
rough and bossy, but you're rough and bossy. It sounds to me that you were so, at the right moment, it's needed for encouragement and helping, guiding, and decisions. And there's nothing wrong with that. Bossiness comes in two ways. There's not just good bossy. There's bossy that it's like, shut the fuck up and leave me alone. Then there's bossy that you can truly appreciate because it helps you to filter out the decisions you want to make. And what better way to get decisions by somebody who truly loves you, honors you, and is with you when all hell breaks loose? You turn around and they're standing there. That is okay to have that bossiness, man. And that sounds like that's what you've been. The bossy all the time. It's, no, I don't want to put the fucking toilet seat down. Yeah,
No, no, no. I don't like one thing you'll know
that's
about me.
different.
Yeah, one thing you'll learn about me is I don't spend my time on not
Yeah.
things that are not necessary.
That's
Like
what I'm
I
saying. It's like that. If you're
wasted
not that,
conversation.
it's support. So,
Mhm.
what an amazing story. But now I want to know what got you into competing. That's what I want to know. What I know working out, all the above, but stepping on stage because
Mhm.
I saw you it's been years.
Yeah, I think it might have been 2022.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't know if
been
it was a Franco show
it
or if
probably
it was
was. I was
James' show.
always judging Joe's shows and all the above.
Okay.
So
What started it?
what started it?
So I always worked out, but I never worked out to the point where I was like getting toned. 2019, I did this thing called isogenics. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Heard of it.
I dropped like 15 or 16 pounds super quick. And after that, I saw the muscle definition that I did have over the years because I lifted. I just never lifted enough to make a difference. And I didn't have the diet to support that. So at the time I was a branch manager and I was chatting with my then boss and I told her, I was like, hey, listen, I think I'm gonna start competing because my shoulders are looking real good. Like I feel good. And she said, I have a trainer that helps in competition prep. So I was like, oh, perfect. Give me his number. So I started and that was it. I got the trainer and then by the probably 6 months later, I was in a show because I was already in pretty good condition. And I dipped down to like 107 pounds. It was crazy. It was so crazy. But back to the anxiety part, like everybody sits there and says like, are you nervous that you're going to get up on stage and you're going to be in front of these people and you're going to fall over? First of all, I don't give a crap if I fall over. You guys can laugh at me, I laugh at myself, move it along. But when I got on that stage, there are no thoughts. So
It's all
it was funny.
business. It's all business.
Yeah, but it was just my place. Like I knew that that's where I was supposed to be because I felt I wasn't anxious at all. I wasn't thinking. And I always think. So it was an amazing experience. And after that, I just kept with it.
Yeah, that is it's outstanding, and it's perfectly fitting now that you unraveled the strength of your mind. I can certainly understand where each and every time, and as you step on stage, it's realizing it's you versus you, and you see
Hmm.
the improvement, you feel the accomplishment on your hard work. You want more.
Hmm.
I wouldn't expect any less from you. I mean, shit, you bring it each and every time, and I'm super proud of you just to keep grinding it out. I'm assuming because you keep doing it that you're doing it healthy and feeling good. You certainly look
Yeah.
healthy and all, and
Yeah.
that's extremely important to do. You keep coming back for more, and I wouldn't expect any less from you based on your journey. And I'm proud to say the last what made me want to reach out to you is tell me about the last show you were in because that's extremely special.
Well, the last show I was in was The Conquer,
Yeah.
which was always I have an amazing experience at The Conquer. Frank and Erin, they're
Mhm.
great. They put on a really great show. But it was actually two shows
Yeah. Right.
before that I got my pro card. I I'm so excited that I was able to achieve this and I really have worked so hard, but I'll tell you really what the key is for me. And I mean I feel like it's good advice for everybody. When you walk off the stage, because I've always felt like I was good, never think I should have placed better than I did. I mean you might think that, right? But you should have a thought about the things that you could have done or what area in which you could have been better to be placed better. And I think that it's far too often that we're thinking, oh, this is crazy. I placed whatever place it was. I should have been first. I should have been second. I should have been whatever. No, I always walk off that stage and I think, what could I have done better? And that's really what keeps me going. And I think that that's the right mindset to have because if without a doubt I was number one, I would be number one. And it took me a long time to perfect my body, but also to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And this past year, I packed on so much muscle and I worked really hard for it.
first and foremost, it shows. So is, I can't congratulate you enough, and I'm super proud of, number one, hearing why and how you got to where you are. I'm honored to hear. I don't know if you shared in this depth detail to anyone else, but it's truly special for me to unpack each individual, their deepest, darkest, lightest, happiest, frustrating, emotional journey through life to find out what makes them tick. For me, listening to you, I wouldn't expect any less. And your words are, and wisdom coming from somebody I got an action packed athletic background in and around bodybuilding, wrestling to a high level in all degrees. And what you just shared is such valuable advice. You, I'm going to repeat the advice, but that advice holds true to everything in life. Anything you look to accomplish, if you do not reach the goal you're looking to reach, even if you do reach the goal you're looking to reach, if you have any sense of competition, there's always going to be the thirst for more. You take a step back and you think about, first and foremost, you enjoy the moment, the hard work that you put in, because that's what it's about, enjoying the moment and allowing yourself to be satisfied by the hard work you have put in. And secondly, when time permits, you let your hair down, you take a breath, and you think what you need to do to improve yourself for the next time. And I always say, and as an active competitor with anything, with work or stepping on stage, I never talk about the placings I should have got, because I know for myself it's greatness in the making for my own. As long as I improve myself, grow my passion, success will follow. The success will come. Maybe it's first, second, third. Maybe I'll get a higher position. Maybe I'll get more subscription. It's irrelevant as long as you continue to grow and improve what you do. That's the most important. And you proved that, girl. I mean, that is just like an incredible story. On Be proud and hold your chest so high to be the glue for your relationship, the great example for your son and daughter. I'm encouraging to listen to just how their mom captivates and sees the moment, that regardless of the way she grew up, she was determined to be the best version of herself. And you did, man. I mean, I'm proud of you. I'm honored. That's fantastic, Ashley. Just so cool. Thank you so much for coming on. I have two last questions for you.
Okay.
Okay, you ready? See,
Yeah.
it wasn't so bad, right?
No, no, it
All
wasn't
right.
bad at
All
all.
right. So the first question is, if you were able to jump back in time and you got a chance to whisper a young you in your ear, doesn't matter what age, at some point in time, you grabbed yourself and you said, what?
I think I would just grab myself and I would just say, "Listen, sister, you're gonna get it." I just had it, and all the things that I went through, I feel like I just learned. And talking about the thinking what you could have done better, I do that in everything that I do. I have to lead people. So I need to help them to see themselves in the mirror. And I think that I just had a really good mirror my whole life to say, you're not good enough. There's things that you need to do. And not in a bad way, in a way that you have the capability of more.
I love it.
Yeah.
And the last one, this is not just the logo for the channel. It's tattooed to my soul on my forearm. It's got so much history. The heart is the mind, body, soul of me, but I have shared it to all. And the EKG is my life, how it's going up and down. And I radiate it and share it with everybody. And the weight is life, man. How heavy that bends. And it will bend, it will crack, but we will never, ever be unbroken. That's simple. Do you see that resonated in any part of your life? I know it's a silly question, but I have to ask. Do you see that representing?
Yeah, so my uncle always told me, and I had a really good relationship with him before he passed away. He told me, my dad told me to never give up, ever. Never, ever give up. Now, he was a hardcore Marine,
Mhm.
and my uncle got the best of him before he passed away. But that's what that means to me is that you go through things, you just keep it moving.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, girl.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Awesome.